Good afternoon. I'm Margaret Ball, and today I will be telling a story about a movie theater. So this old theater in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, now known as Pocono Cinema and Cultural Center, is 135 years old. It has a long and storied history. We are going to go back in time before the internet, streaming, cell phones, video, TV, and movies even existed. It opened in July of 1884 as the Music Academy, a vaudeville and opera house. Vaudeville, a popular form of entertainment that included something for everyone, from opera stars like Jenny Lind to comedians like Jack Benny and Bert Williams, showcasing dance troupes, jugglers, and animal acts. It became the most popular form of entertainment in America in the early part of the 20th century. Vaudeville houses, as they were called, were built from coast to coast, creating a circuit for entertainers to perform. Lowbrow, highbrow, vaudeville embraced it all. Now, this theater also was the first theater to show moving pictures in Monroe County. And then with the eventual death of vaudeville, that popular art form was replaced by the movies. First, the silent pictures, then the talkies. Eventually, due to a devastating fire in that horrible year of 1929, the theater had to be rebuilt, and it was opened again in January of 1930. It was now called the Grand Theater. During the 30s and 40s, movie theaters not only provided entertainment, but screened newsreels of what our troops were facing overseas. Think of it. Instead of watching CNN at home by yourself, you would be watching it in a theater full of equally anxious people. You would immediately be able to talk to your neighbor about the political views or actions of the day. Then, with the development of television, movie theaters became less important. We now watched our news and much of our entertainment at home. Many movie theaters across the nation fell on hard times. Our theater in East Stroudsburg eventually closed in 1986, and then was used for a variety of purposes, from a carpet store to an X-rated movie house. Lucky for East Stroudsburg, local residents John and Carol Yetter purchased and renovated the theater, reopening it as the Pocono Cinema. Their vision was to show films with a unique point of view, independent spirit, and artistic merit. They were very successful at this until, in the early 2000s, the movie business changed again. And due to the shift in entertainment delivery, and I want us all to remember now, going to Blockbuster to pick up those videos, we all had VCRs at home. It was getting more and more difficult to keep a movie theater going. Because this theater was held so dearly in this community, past employees tried to keep it going. That proved to be difficult. Eventually, a group of creative community members reopened the theater as a non-profit organization called Pocono Community Theater. Then in 2015, the theater was renamed again, partly to honor the past and also to better reflect its place within the community. I've made this sound far too easy. The amount of people who committed money, time, and energy in order to keep this theater going will be explained in a little bit. So how did I become involved? I'm a theater professor who teaches at East Stroudsburg University, just a short walk away from this theater. When I first arrived here, almost 19 years ago, the first place I went to was Pocono Cinema. The movie that was playing was called Memento. It was actually sold out. I had to return the next day to see it. Finding this theater gave me the sign that I could stay in this town, that there was a community of people who cared about good films and culture. A movie theater that I could go to in my neighborhood, much like the neighborhood I'd grown up in on the other side of the country. Movie theaters create a sense of nostalgia for my generation. And I think most of us remember the excitement of seeing their first movie in a cinema. I remember being absolutely entranced by Barbra Streisand in Funny Girl. Or my first revival film was Singing in the Rain. Gene Kelly danced into my heart. I sobbed through Bambi. I snuck into The Godfather. I was underage. It was the first restricted film that I saw. I was in a panic the whole movie. It was between the horse's head or was I going to get kicked out. Another memory of that theater, watching Gone with the Wind, a movie with an intermission, time to buy and eat that buttered popcorn. And really having a crush on Rhett Butler and being very disappointed that he didn't get Scarlett O'Hara in the end. Often we went as family or with friends or sometimes even by myself. I think it's these types of memories that bring people together to save a theater or any community institution. I'm sure every person on the board of the Pocono Cinema can share their own story of when they fell in love with going to a movie theater. Whether it be their first crush on a performer, their first date, their first kiss, or just the buttered popcorn. We have a nostalgic connection to a movie theater. So that is the next question. Who saved this theater? A large community of people. A board comprised of a lawyer, English professors, community members, an art historian, communication professors, a retired school teacher, a downtown manager, a general manager who rarely gets to spend the time she wants to with her children because she's always at the theater. A group of hard-working volunteers who plan our yearly benefits. A group of politicians from all sides of the political spectrum who have supported the theater. Local businesses who continually support us by donating goods and services. Workers who donate their time and skills to repair and renovate. The list goes on and on and on. It truly takes a village to save a cinema. So Pocono Cinema is a non-profit organization. We quickly realized that we needed a business model that would make sure we weren't a no-profit organization. The studio fees are so high these days that movies just don't pay for themselves. Fundraisers help us cover some of that shortfall, but we have to still cut all operating expenses to the bare minimum. Our rule, if an event cannot pay for itself, then we don't do it. We are not in the position to gamble. Too many people have put their trust in us. We are constantly seeking new ways to raise more funds. As an organization, we have had to ask ourselves, what does the community need from us? And how can we give back to the community? How can we serve? We champion local performers. The theater features several concerts a year, from Porter and Sales to Elvis impersonators, and as the song says, something for everyone of comedy tonight. Yes, comedy too. Our revival series, which introduces older films to a new generation, is very popular. We have started annual traditions. Come have dinner and watch A Wonderful Life in December. Or a special free showing of Polar Express. In the summer, those nasty sharks return with annual showings of Jaws. And the traditions of throwing rice and toast come alive around Halloween with showings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. We have hosted celebrations for veterans, page-to-stage readings of new plays. We have hosted a heartbreaking Holocaust exhibition. We have featured political speakers and several different film festivals. We have a cappuccino bar that serves delicious pastries from local bakeries. We feature local roasted coffee. Murals painted by local artists are on the walls. The cafe is home to our popular book club. The theaters have become popular rental venues for parties, weddings, and church services. We now maintain an art gallery in the lobby that features local artists' works. It was recently named the Yetter Family Gallery in honor of the Yetter family's strong support of the theater. The stage in Theater 1 is named after the late, great jazz musician Bob DOROUGH, who supported the theater in so many different ways. Theater 1 itself is named after Winston Jones, the dog of one of our benefactors, Lisa Morris. In many ways, Pocono cinema has reclaimed its heritage of vaudeville by featuring a variety of talent, movies, live acts, speeches, and music, something to entertain everyone. Now, how do we claim the future? Movie theaters today must compete with all these new technologies for delivering content. Netflix streams into our living room or to a screen in the palm of our hands. However, those features that are selling points, the convenience, the mobility, the personal space, command a dear price, forgoing that transformative power of live performance and cinematic experience. By contrast, what our theater offers is a communal event. Viewing a live stage or big screen, uninterrupted, sequestered in the dark, immersed in a production, watching together as an audience. A tradition developing arts and culture that is at least 25 centuries to the theaters of ancient Greeks who gave us the very word theater, theatron, the seeing place. We all know intuitively that watching Ben-Hur or Black Panther on an 8-inch screen does not duplicate what happens on a night in a movie palace. Convenience dilutes passion. And our intuition is confirmed by research. The conclusions by MIT professor Sherry Turkle in her recent book, Reclaiming Conversation, The Power of Talk in a Digital Age, can be applied to the power of theater in a streaming age. Just as texting lacks the emotional engagement of face-to-face conversation, so does streaming lack emotional engagement of being part of an audience. When we huddle together in the dark to hear our stories, we cannot help but become engaged and immersed. So coming together physically signals to us that something is important is taking place, not to be casually interrupted by texts or phones. And the sharing of stories is how we develop empathy and build societies out of groups of strangers. So let us reclaim the power of communal experience and public performance by supporting and guaranteeing the future of artistic and cultural institutions like the Pocono Cinema and Cultural Center. Thank you.